In her previous life, Nu Yen was heading home right around midnight. Then, she actually ran into a group of thugs. Luckily, some guy passing by saved her. In that terrifying moment with nobody else around, his sudden appearance felt like an absolute savior to Nu Yen. And well, it really wasn't long before Nu Yen and this mysterious guy fell completely, madly in love. But honestly, this relationship made Nu Yen's parents incredibly worried. They really thought this guy had a pretty shady background. Then one day during dinner, Nu Yen's parents started complaining all over again. They were like, who decent would even be wandering around out there in the middle of the night? Could just be some drunk gang. Nu Yen frowned, arguing back, I already told you, if he hadn't shown up just in time, I have no idea what would have happened. He saved me, so we can't just casually date? Nu Yen, you're way too naive. Here, just look at Badat. Try asking Badat's parents if they'd ever agree to let Badat date someone like that. I just kept my head down, eating my food, suddenly getting called out. Before they could finish, Nu Yen slammed the door and stormed off. This time, I just sat totally still, watched her angry silhouette leave without chasing after her. See, in my past life, when I rushed over to Nu Yen's apartment, I arrived exactly as a massive fire broke out. I threw myself inside to save her, but a burning beam crushed my face. Afterward, my face was completely covered in thick scars, never, ever going back to normal. Nu Yen, feeling extremely guilty, actually took the initiative to say she'd marry me. I asked her so gently, what about him? Oh, he's fine. It's really nothing. My parents totally oppose it anyway, so why force things? She said all that. So casually, but right after getting married, she basically just avoided me. Even when she got drunk, she'd hug me, crying. But because of my severe scar infections, I eventually had to go through extensive skin removal surgery. Then, one single day, I accidentally overheard this conversation between Nu Yen and her parents. Ruined like that, he'd be better off just not being around at all. Why is Badat even still here? Everything I sacrificed was just out of pity for Nu Yen, and yet, she was actually cursing me to be gone in absolute despair. I slammed hard on the gas pedal, crashing my car straight into a bridge pillar. The second the car went up in flames, Nu Yen left me behind and escaped alone. But what a pity. That was an absolute tragic end. Nobody could ever escape that. In those final fading moments, Nu Yen was screaming out loud, if I could choose all over again, I'd rather ruin my own face than ever have to meet you again. Then I opened my eyes, suddenly reborn. This time around, when Nu Yen stormed off, I chose to just sit there, keep eating. I remember in the past, she always used this mocking tone, saying, if you hadn't done extra work trying to save me, maybe we'd have been totally safe. Yeah. The wheel of fate just keeps on turning. Watch how fast things flip. Right as I'm processing this wild second chance, an agonizing scream suddenly echoes across the hospital. Nu Yen woke up, completely unable to accept that her gorgeous face was totally ruined. Sweetheart, please don't touch your wounds, her parents pleaded. The doctor said the burns were incredibly severe, so just surviving was a massive blessing. I looked over, seeing Nu Yen trembling, desperately wanting to touch her own face, but her parents held her back tight. She still tried, reaching out toward the mirror, whispering, this isn't real. It's just a tiny wound. My face won't leave any scars. Nu Yen's mom turned away, crying absolutely silently. Deep down, just feeling this massive wave of mixed emotions. Nu Yen's mom always treated me exactly like her own son. Last time around, she took such great care of me. Seeing her like this now, it's really a pity. She raised such a selfish daughter, who only cares about her own personal gain. I stepped forward, planning to help and call a nurse to comfort Nu Yen, but Nu Yen just glared right at me with furious eyes, yelling out, get lost. I don't need you guys pretending to be kind. The nurse tried to offer some advice, but I completely stopped her. Right now, the roles have switched. It's my turn to stand back and watch her suffer and struggle. After we got married, Nguyen genuinely believed I went into that fire on purpose just to force her into marriage. Since then, she absolutely hated me to her core. There was this one time my scar infection kept me agonizingly awake all night. I wanted to grab my medicine, but she locked me inside the room. I was sweating heavily in pure agony. I looked up at the mirror, saw her standing right outside the door, staring in so coldly. At that exact moment, my heart just completely froze over. A sound suddenly cuts through my thoughts. It's Nguyen's mom crying out, "Please don't be like this anymore. Just rest." Well, okay, I am begging you. Seeing Nguyen's mom trembling like that, I really couldn't help but sigh heavily to myself. Nguyen, your wounds are right in the acute inflammation stage. If you don't care for them properly, your dermal layer will absolutely form stubborn scar tissue, leading to thick, hardened scars. The nurse looked at me super confused, probably wondering how on earth I knew all that so well. All this terrible pain, I've already lived through it all. Every single second is burned deep into my memory. In this life, I don't want absolutely any connection. To Nguyen. But because my mom kept bringing up our old neighborly bond, she still forced me to go care for her. When I changed the bandages, the heavy smell of harsh antiseptic and ointment hit my face. I really couldn't help but step back. Meanwhile, Nguyen just pressed her lips super tight. You can clearly see her priority here. She's just trying to maintain her fragile pride. Face means absolutely everything to her. Driving home later, I casually brought up the guy who caused her injury. Why didn't he even come to visit her? The exact moment I mentioned Nguyen's parents' faces immediately darkened. That's because, during that terrible fire, he completely abandoned Nguyen and just ran away to save himself. Glancing in the rearview mirror, I saw Nguyen's eyes instantly go pitch black. After a really long silence, she just coldly muttered, "He's been super busy with work lately. He'll definitely visit me in a few days." Honestly, I know her way too well. It was all just for her pride. Nguyen's mom stayed quiet, looking like she wanted to say something. He gently pulls his hand away from Mr. Liu, deliberately letting his words sting. He tells Mrs. Liu she should just go see whoever she really wants to. Honestly, it's probably better for her if the guy she actually likes comes to visit instead. Hearing this, Mrs. Liu doesn't say another word. Total silence. He completely understands her thoughts. Nguyen and he grew up together, and both their families basically considered their future marriage totally set in stone. But thinking about his feelings for Nguyen now, he can't even remember when he first started liking her, or when this whole romantic spark really finally faded away into nothing. Maybe it was when she publicly accused him of harassing her just to protect Wai Dang Than, or maybe when she totally forgot his birthday just to hang out with that guy. Right now, but that's just a random passerby in her life, with absolutely zero intentions of getting revenge or messing with her business anymore. He genuinely hopes she and Wai Dang then stay blissfully happy together for 100 long years. He just wonders if this Wai Dang Then guy can actually handle all the incoming drama. Their two families are literally right next door, but as long as he doesn't reach out, they never cross paths. Well, a week later, when he suddenly bumps right into Nguyen again, her new lover's gently supporting her as they stroll through the neighborhood. Right when Badat and his mom are heading home with their groceries. "Mom, I want to introduce you to someone, my future boyfriend, Wai Dang Than." Nguyen announces this out loud, her face absolutely glowing with pure joy. Even though her face is completely covered in heavy bandages, her eyes can't hide her happiness. Badat and his mom politely congratulate the happy couple, but Wai Dang Then quietly pulls his hand right out of hers, taking a clear step back. "Nguyen, don't say that. Our parents still don't know about this yet." After all these years, Nguyen finally looks as blissfully happy as she did back when she was just a teenager. "As long as you agree, we can go register our marriage tonight," she says happily. Wai Dang Than, Our future together is already completely decided. Seeing Nu Yen so totally lost in her own self-made fairy tale, Badat just can't bring himself to shatter her little dream world right there. Once they get home, his mom just keeps sighing. Nu Yen really has such a tough fate. Just think about it, she used to be such a pretty girl, and now, Badat just shakes his head. It's her choice, her own path to walk, in this life, and the very last. His mom keeps staring over at the neighbor's house, letting out another heavy sigh. Mr. Lu's just so pitiful. Following her gaze, he spots Mr. Lu sitting entirely alone on a bench in the yard. His eyes look totally empty, and somehow, his hair has already turned completely white. Badat remembers how in his past life, Nu Yen constantly complained. She claimed if he hadn't caused so much trouble, she and Wai Dang Than would have gotten together way sooner. He had argued back. She was the one who got him hurt. She volunteered. He never forced her to take responsibility. Love turning to pure hatred. That must be it. Nu Yen used to stare right at him, her eyes so sharp, they could pierce right through him. Kai Badat, stop pretending. You clearly like me. You want to marry me. You arranged everything with my dad, just to force my hand. He had stayed quiet. As Kai Badat, he's got pretty solid qualities himself. Why on earth would he ruin his own looks for someone so blind to reality? Snapping back, he sees Mr. Lu quickly wiping a tear from his eye. He looks away, quietly lowering his head. Even now, Nu Yen naively believes her meeting with Wai Dang Than was some kind of magical destiny. But here's the crazy part. She has absolutely no clue that, in his past life, Badat completely investigated the guy. Wai Dang Than just wanted a rich girl, so he could climb the social ladder. To meet Nu Yen, he practically ambushed her on her way home multiple times. Even that whole epic saving the beauty moment was just a totally staged play he directed himself. Later, Mr. Lu brings over their engagement invitation, his eyes just filled with so much regret as he looks at Badat. Smiling, he hands the invite to his mom and flips the subject. Uncle, my friend and I are actually opening a restaurant soon. I have to head out tomorrow. In his previous life, after his face was totally ruined, Nu Yen completely ignored him. Cold reality. Only his college roommate, Jiang Kang, would come visit him every now and then. Whenever Badat was writhing in absolute agony from those terrible scars, Jiang Kang always carefully supported him, never once calling him ugly. But honestly, his friend wasn't happy either. He ended up marrying a terrible wife, who drained all his money and forced him to fund her brother's startup. So in this life, Badat's fully determined to help him out. Before that wedding happens, taking him far away is the perfect payback for all his past kindness. Mr. Lu just stands there stunned, saying, this decision is way too rushed. But wait for it, here's the twist. That night, there's a sudden knock. He opens the door to find Nu Yen, her heavily bandaged face only showing her eyes. He frowns. He's about to shut the door, but she quickly blocks it with her hand. After staring at each other in total silence, she pulls some wedding candy from her pocket. You're leaving to build your career, so you can't make it to my engagement, right? He nods. He doesn't take it. She stays completely quiet for a really long time before suddenly speaking up. I'm so sorry. I said some pretty harsh things during our dinner, so please don't take it to heart. Badat remembers her exact words and just chuckles. Ah, right. Mr. Lu had completely opposed Wai Dang Than, saying that Badat was definitely the best match. Then Nu Yen got furious, punched him right there, and screamed that she felt absolutely nothing for him at all. She pauses for a second. Don't worry, I didn't mean anything by it. He honestly can't tell if she's saying this for him, or just to appease Mr. Lu. Thinking about it now, it really doesn't matter anyway. He just smiles and nods. Alright then, I still have to pack, so you should probably head back. The very next day, he meets up with his friend and flies straight out to the location. The restaurant business, smoother than expected. With people always coming and going, we hear all kinds of crazy stories here. One night after closing, we're having a drink with a few regulars when Dong Kong suddenly speaks up. But Dad, you've changed so much. I look at him, totally surprised. Changed how? You're so independent now, doing everything yourself. Back in college, you weren't like this at all. I practically had to spoon feed you water in bed. He says it with this cheerful tone, making me laugh out loud. After my face was completely ruined in my past life, I had to rely on others just to survive. But in this life, I'm safe and sound, and I'm definitely going to repay all the kindness I've received. A year later, I bump into Lu Nu Yen on my way home. Her family is actually moving out. When I see her mother, she clearly recognizes me, but she immediately turns and walks away. That reaction right there tells me something is definitely off. Mom, where are they moving to? I ask, pretty curious. Having just returned after being away for a while, the vibe between our two families feels quite strange. Did something really bad happen while I was gone? My mom hesitates for a second, then just shakes her head without saying a word. Standing by my bedroom window, I can see exactly what's going down next door. Lu Nu Yen takes these really careful steps, covering her face. That same face that used to make everyone so jealous, now it's completely hidden behind thick bandages. Uncle Lu is moving some boxes when he suddenly loses control, slamming a cardboard box onto the ground, and turns around to slap Lu Nu Yen hard. This whole scene makes me flash back to when we were kids, and she got hit for being naughty. But this time, I catch a few words proving this isn't just a simple scolding. Even weirder, where is Wai Dang Than? I guess I was staring a bit too hard, because my dad suddenly taps my shoulder. They were about to get engaged. Uncle Lu saw how naive his daughter was, and even if he hated it, he had to accept it. Look at her now. Who would even want to marry Lu Nu Yen anymore? My mom is usually super considerate, but this time just cut her off. Enough. Stop beating around the bush. They are pretty well off, but that amount is definitely not small. The Liu family just wanted to wrap up this wedding as fast as possible, and the money was transferred to Wai Eng Thenh right on the day of the engagement party. But exactly 3 months later, Wai Eng Thenh suddenly spread a wild rumor claiming Lu Nhyn was seeing another guy. He even pulled out these blurry photos, showed up at the Liu house, and caused a massive scene just to cancel the engagement entirely. Wai Eng Thenh straight up told them to look at her face now. Barely even human anymore, he cruelly said. How could he possibly live with a monster like that? Lu Nhyn just stood there completely stunned, unable to process it. Her mom, seeing her daughter like that, obviously didn't want to let it go, but eventually she had to agree to the breakup, demanding the money back. However, the Wai Eng Thenh family harshly declared that the funds were purely compensation for their own mental distress, and they would not return a single penny. So the Liu family lost both their money and their pride, too ashamed to even leave the house. Hearing all this, I totally wanted to stay completely out of it, but surprisingly, Lu Nhyn actually reached out and asked to meet me at the local park. I instantly refused, but my dad actually forced me to go talk with her. Lu Nhyn showed up super late, walking over the gravel path, every single step looking incredibly difficult. Seeing me just sitting there without moving, she felt a little awkward. She figured that in my eyes, she was probably just a total fool right now. Now, the entire neighborhood is completely making fun of her. I secretly thought about the braised pork waiting at home and just nodded. Yeah, after a year of not seeing her, she got a lot thinner, and her clothes weren't elegant anymore. She looked pretty messy. Lu Nhyn forced a tiny smile unconsciously, reaching up to touch her severely ruined face, wishing she could just tear it right off. Seeing her act so terribly destructive toward herself like that, I guessed that soon enough, she would probably ruin her looks completely. To be honest, I was actually pretty curious to see what that would end up like. Even though 3 million was not a massive sum for the Liu family, it was definitely enough to make them hurt for quite a while. After a moment of silence, Lu Nhyun suddenly turned to me. Get this. She asked if I believed it. Why Nh actually never had any photos. None at all. That sentence completely stunned me. Seeing my surprised expression, Lu Nhyun bitterly pointed right at her own face and looked at me. Right. Now, looking like this, who would even want her? That guy Nh. Everything he did was just lies and pure slander. Lu Nhyun then hugged her arms, looking up at the sky. The more she tried acting like she didn't care, the more obvious the pain in her eyes became. He had found the rich young lady he really wanted and simply needed an excuse to toss her away. An outcome exactly like this. She had already predicted it. But Nh was just way too cruel. Not only betraying her feelings, but shifting the blame entirely onto her, and even having the nerve to swallow up. Is his conscience really clear with that cash? Suddenly Lu Nhyun asks back when I met why. Nh, I always kept my distance, but why didn't you stop me when I ran out that day? I just stand there, clueless. How to reply? Honestly, you see how ridiculous this is. She always blames someone else. I have zero interest in this weird chat, so I stand up and take a big step back. I tell her I have to leave, so never look for me again. Turning away, Lu Nhyun suddenly grabs my wrist. She asks if things would be different if I had stopped her. I coldly shake off her hand, completely unfazed. I tell her no, I never wanted to stop her at all. Heading home now, I plan to take a real break, letting DG Kong handling his own business was honestly pretty strange to watch. But after all those endless twists and turns, those two somehow ended up right back together. Honestly, I'm way too tired to even try stopping their breakups anymore. Looking at it, both DG Kong and Nh share this incredibly stubborn streak. Once they make a choice, they just do not back down easily at all. So the only thing I can really do is stand by and support DG Kong. For the past 3 years, DG Kong and I ran a restaurant together, splitting the profits right down the middle. My bank account just kept growing. But DG Kong, he had absolutely nothing left. Every single cent fell right into that woman's pockets. The only real comfort here is that eventually, right before the wedding, he finally saw her true colors. After a whole year away from his hometown, he came back and got treated like an absolute treasure. But that peace didn't last. Soon after, I heard a massive door slam. I jumped out of bed in a total panic and grabbed my wallet. I held it out. Dad, take this. I was just trying to act like a movie character to cheer him up, but his eyes were completely red. What's wrong? I instantly dropped the joke. Did you and Mom have a fight? We've been next door neighbors with the Liu family for years, but today was the very first time I actually heard him criticize them. He said Mom knew the Liu family's company was struggling, so she headed over there to see if we could offer some help. But you won't believe what Lu told her. He literally said, we should convince you to marry Lu Nhyun. I just listened quietly, watching my dad get so furious he was almost in tears. Lu told him, my boy, I know you still have feelings for Lu Nhyun, but think about how she treated you back then. Where does that leave us, parents? Hearing that, I actually could not hold back a laugh. So this was the Liu family's brilliant master plan. We raised our son well, so why should he take care of a girl whose face is totally ruined? With things like this now, who really knows if she'll just cause endless trouble later on? Right then, I noticed my dad secretly checking my expression, but when he saw I wasn't really reacting at all, he lowered his voice and asked, BT, you two grew up together since you were little. Are you absolutely sure you don't have any lingering feelings for her anymore? I just shoved the money into his hand. Stop overthinking things, Dad. If the heavens actually gave me a chance to start my life all over again, I would never ever get caught in that toxic cycle again. As for the Liu family, they can solve their own mess. In my past life, Lu Nhyn and I broke things off after a crazy night of drinking. Back then, I honestly thought she had finally let go of Nhyn. A while after the wedding took place, Lu Nhyn suddenly reached out and invited me to dinner. After we ate, I opened a bottle of wine and just drank myself completely blind. Pay close attention to this shift. I curled up on the sofa, gasping for air. Your 20s should be beautiful, but I completely ruined my own face. Watching me break down like that, Lu Nhyn suddenly turned so incredibly gentle. She reached out, wiping my tears away. Don't cry, I'm right here. I slowly looked up, straight into her eyes. That sudden softness was honestly so hard to believe. With every single gentle word of comfort she spoke, my scarred heart felt completely soothed. I lay my head on her lap, sobbing uncontrollably. Nhyn, I can't even face anyone anymore. Lu Nhyn gently patted my cheek. Don't worry, she said, I know you got hurt just to protect me. Thanks to you, I'm still sitting here talking to you. Today, I slowly sat up, looked right at her, and asked softly, do you really mean that? After 20 years of friendship, I knew Lu Nhyn too well. I knew when she genuinely felt happy. After she got married, her eyes always carried this heavy, lingering sadness. I saw right through it, but in that exact moment, Lu Nhyn used her finger to wipe the tears off my face, looking completely serious. What about you? Do you still have feelings for me? Those buried childhood emotions suddenly rushed back into my heart. My pulse went absolutely wild, heart pounding so loudly it echoed in my ears. Facing her intense, expectant stare, I couldn't help it. I softly admitted that I did, but instantly, I watched Lu Nhyn's eyes shift. That gaze full of warm affection was suddenly overflowing with nothing but pure, cold mockery. She abruptly stood up, taking a few steps back, and pointed right at my face, screaming at the top of her lungs. It's exactly because of those pathetic thoughts that you ran right into the fire, leaving me totally trapped. You completely ruined my lifelong happiness. And now, are you finally satisfied? Looking back on our 20 years together, I felt nothing but absolute disgust. When I finally sobered up and opened my eyes, I looked right at her. She was like a complete stranger I couldn't even recognize. That violent, sudden shift in her personality honestly terrified me. I was totally blindsided, but my genuine confusion just looked like some cheap, clumsy act to her. Stop pretending, she snapped. If I hadn't pushed you so hard, you would have never admitted the truth. KBT, when are you finally going to stop playing the pathetic, pitiful victim in all of this? And right after that, boom, Lu Nhyn slammed the door violently and stormed out. That entire night, I felt like she had just cruelly and mercilessly trampled me into the dirt. And you know what makes it worse? I later found out that on that exact day, Nhyn held his engagement party. He married into some wealthy woman's family in the circle, even having to raise her much older son. Ever since Lu Nhyn's mother actively tried to matchmake the two of us, I made sure to keep my distance from the Lu family. She constantly looked for any little excuse to chat with me, but I shut her down every time with harsh words. I said my bright future shouldn't be wasted on babysitting a woman whose face was completely ruined. She finally gave up, even though I've actually managed to build a really stable career for myself now. I still keep my distance from anything slightly imperfect. Anyway, after parting ways with DG Kong that day, we headed back to the restaurant the very next morning. A whole month passed in total peace. But then DG Kong's crazy ex-girlfriend showed up to cause trouble. She made such a massive scene that day. She ended up scaring off almost all of our customers. DG Kong was absolutely furious and immediately called the cops on her. However, this woman argues it's just a lover's quarrel. He owes me money, so I'm here to collect. And once I get paid, I'll leave. We actually managed to kick her out the first time, but she kept coming back over and over, and the cops couldn't even help. Since she isn't causing real damage, they said they cannot intervene. DG Kong clenches his fists tightly, trying his hardest to hold back His anger boils. She stole over 100,000 from me, he says, and now blames me. Do not expect one dime. The woman just sneers and sits right at the restaurant entrance. She is absolutely refusing to leave until she gets exactly what she wants. For 3 straight days, our business takes a massive hit. DG Kong can barely take it anymore, so I finally step in and call security. The guards quickly drag her away, but right as she is about to leave, Lu Nhyn suddenly shows up looking like a total mess. Seeing Lu Nhyn, the woman instantly changes her entire attitude. She perks right up and brightly asks, "Oh, isn't this Miss Lu?" Lu Nhyn has basically become a local celebrity in the city lately, so it is no surprise this woman recognizes her right away. "I heard Miss Lu got betrayed by her fiancé," she mocks. "Are you here for a replacement? If you are feeling quite charitable, toss me some change. 3 million is enough." Lu Nhyn turns bright red and coldly snaps, "Get out before I actually hit you." The woman glares at Lu Nhyn with pure disgust, her voice sharp. "Still think you are some rich girl? You are nothing but a broke princess. Now, stop pretending to be so high and mighty." Lu Nhyn clenches her fists tightly. She trembles completely, but cannot say anything. I sigh heavily and turn right back toward my restaurant. I have enough wealth and family backing me. Oh, need to play hero here. But I really underestimated her sheer stubbornness today. Lu Nhyn quietly follows me inside, her eyes full of awe as she looks around. I finally speak up. "Did you run away? Did you really just come here to tour my restaurant?" Lu Nhyn lowers her head, staying completely silent. "Seriously? A restaurant tour?" Seeing her stay quiet, I sigh again and get ready to finally kick her out. But then she opens her mouth. "BT," she whispers, "my family is completely bankrupt." I had a bad feeling, but hearing it straight from her still stuns me. Impossible. Get this, the Lu family own multiple shops right downtown. Just from that alone, she could easily live comfortably forever. With that income, she was set for life. After hearing my question, Lu Nhyn suddenly bursts into absolute tears right then and there. In that exact moment, I almost see my past self crying. But back in my previous life, Lu Nhyn was never this weak. Every time I cried, all I got was her back turning away from me. "BT, I truly know I was completely wrong. Please come back to me," she begs. Hearing that actually makes me waver. In the past, she called our love a huge mistake. Now in this life, she suddenly wants to start over? As if things could be that easy. We were never even truly together before. How can we start over? I sigh heavily. "Why don't we talk about your bankrupt family instead?" After a long silence, she explains. Lu Nhyn wanted to reconnect, but that 3 million is completely gone. She has almost nothing left to her name right now. She desperately scrambled to borrow money and accidentally overheard about this amazing investment, promising double the profit. Lu Nhyn was cautious. After investing 100,000, she received luxury items, designer bags and expensive jewelry. Pure greed pushed her to dump all her savings and even borrow way more. A whole month later, Lu Nhyn finally realized she got scammed. By then, the fraudsters had vanished without any trace behind. The Lu family lost everything. Banks seized their shops. Her family of 3 cannot even eat. "BT, I know I totally messed up. I should have listened to my mom. If I chose you, my family wouldn't be ruined." I shake my head, feeling totally annoyed. Are you really this stupid? Marriage has nothing to do with this. No. Lu Nhyn shakes her head, tears falling on my sleeve. I wipe her tears away in pure disgust and continue. My dad investigated that scammer was actually sent by Yang Then's wife. Her goal was destroying Mr. Lu's family. Wild, right? I almost laugh. I never expected Yang Then to play this dirty. After the Lu family went bankrupt, Mr. Lu fell so sick he could not stand. My dad had slowly distanced himself from them. Yet over the years, he finally went to the hospital to visit him. Today, he calls me up with a pretty heavy tone. Mr. Lu used to treat you so well. Now, he had a massive stroke and is hospitalized. Do you want to come visit him? After all, we won't have TIs later. Mr. Lu's stroke is way worse than I thought. Lying there, he cannot move an inch. His mouth droops, drool constantly slipping. Seeing me, Mr. Lu breaks down sobbing loudly. I cannot understand anything he is trying to say, but I really do not want to hear him bring up marrying Lu Nhyn. I stay polite, but distant, putting the fruit down. Just focus on resting up. Everything will be fine. My dad stays totally quiet, just silently peeling an apple. All because of Lu Nhyn's huge mistake. Her entire family fell into total ruin. I remember when I married her in the past. Mr. Lu and her family treated me so well, but later, since we couldn't have kids, they slowly grew cold toward me. Now, everything changed. Nu Yen completely lost her looks, yet her family still wanted us back together. I really could not force myself to play nice with them, but I also couldn't just abandon Uncle Lu. So I covered his hospital bills and hired a caretaker for when he got home. My dad just kept sighing heavily. Uncle Lu is honestly such a pitiful guy. He used to feed stray cats. So how did he end up hitting absolute rock bottom like this? All because of Lu Yen and her terrible choices. He then asked me, do you think we can actually get that scammed money back? Dad. I answered him. In theory, sure, but it's incredibly tough. This was a carefully planned revenge plot by Y Dang Than. That cash has probably already been moved far away by now. I looked down, not really caring about the money for Uncle Lu's hospital bills. But all of a sudden, I really wanted to see Y Dang Than face to face. That wealthy woman he married is a famous businesswoman right here in the city. I obviously could not just rush in blindly. But heaven has eyes, and I managed to uncover a massive, shocking secret between Y Dang Than and his new stepson. When I finally met Y Dang Than at the cafe, he took one look at me and immediately broke into this incredibly arrogant smirk. He sneered, saying he wondered who it was, only to find the loser he crushed years ago, still daring to cause trouble. I just quietly motioned for him to sit down and talk. Y Dang Than probably just wanted to see what this total failure would do next. But the second he saw the photo displayed on my phone, his entire face completely dropped. Kai ba dat. What is the meaning of this? I just calmly tossed the phone right onto the table. Nothing much, I told him. I just want to know how you managed to steal the woman and play games with both the mother and the son like that. Y Dang Than panicked and grabbed the phone to delete the picture. But too bad. That was the wallpaper of my lock screen, and he had no password. He was completely helpless. He yelled, Kai ba dat, do you not understand? The past is long gone. Why are you even here? Y Dang Than sneered at me. You are living a pretty great life now, right? But do not think I will let this slide. I raised an eyebrow. You can imagine how much I hated that smug look. Especially since he helped cause my past life's tragedy. Right after getting married, I caught them secretly hooking up behind my back multiple times. But honestly, his current life is not exactly a walk in the park either. That rich older woman wears heavy makeup, but she actually has a sick obsession with abuse. Everyone in town knows she loves torturing people. And that stepson of hers is absolute trash too. Honestly, the photos I have right here are something nobody could even stomach looking at for long. So I got straight to the point. Your subordinates scammed all that money from the Lu family, and now you are giving it back. Hearing this, Y Dang Than just let out this incredibly mocking sneer. He burst out laughing and even pretended to wipe away a tear. Are you really still defending that awful, ugly woman? Kai ba dat. Please do not tell me you are still hung up on her after all this time. How pathetic. It seems like in this whole life you have never actually met a decent woman. I frowned at that. I could ignore his other insults, but the fact that he was implying I still had feelings for Lu Yen, that was completely unacceptable. I just stood right there, shoved my hands deep into my pockets, and kept my voice freezing cold. Y Dang Than, you call yourself a man? Besides leeching off wealthy women to climb the ladder, what else can you actually do? Why Dang Than just broke into another arrogant smirk. You rich kids born with silver spoons. Why do you always look down on me? I managed to climb up the social ladder. So what is wrong with that? You people let money buy everything, yet you dare condemn me for chasing cash? I just gave a cold smirk, my eyes sharp as a knife. If you are so successful now, why still obsess over ruining them? This is nothing but your own fragile, pathetic ego talking. Why? Dang Than's face instantly went pale. Then he aggressively threatened me. If he could completely shatter the Liu family, he could absolutely do the exact same thing to mine. I calmly unlocked my screen, shoving those horrible photos right in Dang Than's face. My voice stayed dead cold. Transfer that exact amount into my account by 6 p.m. tomorrow. If the money does not show up, I am going to blast these pictures out for the whole world to see. With that, I turned on my heel to leave. Walking past him, I dropped my voice to a whisper. Did it not take you a massive amount of effort to win over Liu Nuyen back then? So why treat the girl who used to be your golden ticket like absolute garbage now? Are you just trying to wipe away all your dirty past mistakes? Every few steps I took away from him, I heard the sound of glass cups violently shattering behind me. I let out a cold laugh. Even if he climbed into bed with a rich old lady, so what? He is still just a hot-headed loser who cannot control his temper. Just a total clown. The very next day, exactly as I expected, the money hit my bank account. I immediately transferred the full amount over to my mom. She hesitated, asking if we needed to hand it to Aunt Liu. I gently shook my head. Mom, this money goes right back to them, and then we let this whole nightmare end today. From now on, our family and theirs belong to two completely different worlds. Finally, my parents backed off from my life. But you know how parents are. They still carried that lingering worry. My mom stayed totally silent for a long moment, then slowly nodded. Fine. Uncle Liu is still bedridden, but will Aunt Liu actually stay right by his side through all this? That toxic kind of family environment explains everything. No wonder Liu Nuyen grew up to be a girl with such incredibly terrible character. But honestly, none of their drama has anything to do with us anymore. From this day forward, we are just going to be complete strangers. Just regular strangers. After that, my mom finally finished the bank transfer. Then she and my dad came over to help me manage my newly opened restaurant. This was our perfect way to completely distance ourselves from the Liu family. Fast forward a whole year. One day, Duong Kong grabs his phone, his tone full of mystery. An insider mentioned hearing wild rumors from the circle. Word is, Dang Than finally got what was coming to him. He did not just have the old lady uncover all his dirty little secrets. The guy also got his hand totally wrecked by his wife's stepson, and they literally kicked him right out of the house. In the end, he lost absolutely everything. All that glory and massive wealth faded like a distant dream. Right now, he is just barely surviving out there like a total beggar, wandering the streets in a complete daze every single day. 2 years later, Duong Kong hesitates a bit before telling me he bumped into Liu Nuyen back in her hometown. She is working on a factory assembly line now, keeping her face completely hidden behind a heavy mask. Here is the crazy part. You know how fast rumors spread in a town like that. Liu Nuyen losing her pretty looks became a truly massive deal, because she is my awful former partner, who always had a talent for stirring up trouble. Word is she bounced around jobs, but could not hold any of them down, especially any gig that actually required showing her face. The second a boss saw her, they would instantly find some random excuse to fire her. Now, she can only take those super hidden jobs where nobody ever really looks at you. I just nod calmly. Honestly, my heart does not even flutter the slightest bit. Thinking back to my past life, she is the one who pushed me until I totally ruined my own life. So really, this punishment is not even slightly harsh. It simply means she was always bound to lose those looks eventually. Duong Kong clearly wants to spill something else. He stumbles over his words for a second, but then finally mentions that a year ago Lu Nuyen's mom actually ran off with a much younger guy. Apparently, that new man is only about 2 years older than Lu Nuyen herself. With nobody left to care for him, her dad faded away about 6 months back. Honestly, an ending like that makes total sense. Catching the hesitant look on Duong Kang's face, I straight ask him, do you think I am being too cruel? He thinks it over, then just shakes his head. The Lu family brought that entire mess upon themselves. So what does any of it have to do with you? I nod quietly, just going back to handling my restaurant duties. Duong Kang keeps rambling away right behind me. Kaiba dat, do not blame yourself at all. Feeling sorry for a woman like that only brings you some extra misery in the end. And honestly, he is completely right. Luckily, in this current timeline, we broke free from all that toxic garbage and finally earned ourselves some real peace of mind and proper respect everywhere.